Hello, all. My name is Dan Clayson. I want to talk about how I expanded my professional learning network today. I went ahead and I did um, the podcast for the project. So I'm going to go over kind of how I did that and how I feel like it's going to expand my professional learning network. So the first thing I did was I downloaded Audacity. I've got a little folder here that I put together. So in here I have my Audacity file and my finalized podcasts. And if you're interested in podcasts, I'm a huge fan of them. This was actually a super easy process. All you did was you opened up this Audacity thing and you were able to kind of go ahead and easily do it. You can kind of see I had an intro. This right here is the bulk of the podcast, and down here is the outro. So it was fairly easy, and then I had to convert it to a MP3 file, which was also easy. It just followed the directions on the thing, super easy. So I used Podbean to create a website. So I made mymadhistory at .podbean.com. And I got really inspired during this because podcasts are like one of my favorite things. And I was thinking how great it would be to create a resource for my kids of just kind of like short podcast lecture type things where they could, download or listen to podcasts or lectures that I do about certain things. So basically, this is my first episode, which you can listen to at mymadhistory.podbean.com. It's pretty straightforward. You click on this and it starts up. That's Hail to the Chief. I'm a history teacher, so my stuff is going to kind of focus mostly on history. But then what I decided I wanted to do, and especially, so that kind of opens up the window there for, trying to get my podcast out, and I want to do a section where I talk about, educational stuff. But I was thinking about how great it would be, to kind of have this type of thing for students. So I went to another thing. I actually talk about this in my podcast. Is I went to Weebly. This took me about 15 minutes to set up. So this is kind of where you build in Weebly, and that's kind of what it looks like. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to build a space for my students to be able to watch and see or listen to podcasts. So we're going to go to mymadhistoryteacher.weebly.com. And there's a nice picture of George Washington that's on the Creative Commons license. So over here we have podcasts and contact. And then down here, so this would be like an example of how I could make a podcast that pertains to the students. There'd be the podcast with a brief description right here. And then they can play that. And it starts up just like that. Or what they can do is they can do this. They can click on here, and it takes them, and they can actually download the file. And you see it kind of downloads right there. So that was pretty cool. So what I was actually kind of considering doing is, sorry, I accidentally closed that out. I'm going to go back to mymadhistoryteacher.weebly.com. Now this is completely not even started yet, but I was thinking, I'm going to do a lecture series, like a podcast series on my content. It's going to take a long time to do, so this is by far not done yet, but made like a little website here, and this is podcast and smodcast, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually have an entire series of just 5 to 10 minute lecture series. I'll have pictures over on this side, so it's definitely under construction still, and then the podcast will be under each of the things, so that the kids throughout the year, if they missed a lecture or something, will be able to go back and download. So what I'm hoping for is that by having a podcast about educational for in general having a podcast about what's going on in class, or even educational technology as a whole, it'll be a really nice way for people to kind of know what I'm doing in my classroom, as well as kind of hear and see different approaches for how to do certain things. So I'm definitely very excited about it, and I'm really, really thankful for the opportunity for this project. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I definitely am inspired right now and ready to kind of get to work. So thank you so much, and have a nice day.